Hi everyone! So I thought today we would work on the Nutcracker. I have a Nutcracker Christmas ornament that I've just taken from my fireplace, and I thought this would be a really good sort of palette for us to work from, because we've got the green, which we can sort of match with the tree either side, so it's a little bit symmetrical with the colours. And of course we've got the red and the black, so it's going to mix in with our main colour palette here as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to use the same colours as I have been using so that it's all nice and cohesive. So we'll start off with the greens that I have left out from last time. We will start with the luminance green because it's a little bit darker. This is dark sap green 739, I think it is. It's the one we used last time to darken up under the branches of the trees. So I'm really glad that you all enjoyed the last part of the colour along, because I really had fun doing it, and I got lots of comments from you guys saying that you were so glad that the colour along was back. And yeah, so really happy about that. I've had some really beautiful comments from people, and I really appreciate you watching. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the edges of his arms, and then we can create a nice shiny midpoint so it looks a bit curved, a bit rounded. And then my next colour is the dark green Prisma. If you can hear my washing machine in the background, sorry about that, but it is half price weekends and I've got to get that washing done while it's half price electric. But when I'm editing the video, I will attempt to remove some background noise. We'll just see how much of it removes. If you can't hear anything, then that's great. It means it's done a good job, so we will see. I'm now moving on to the grass green. And like I was saying in my last video, my colouring skill level has plateaued, and that's fine for me, but it just means that you'll get to see sort of repetitive way that I colour, which is just blending from dark to light. So there's sort of no, apart from the tree, which I still don't like, we've been doing everything just as blends. So I'm going to try and leave a little bit of white, just a slither in the centre, and that gives us a really nice shiny and kind of curved look. If there are any areas that you think you would like to blend a little bit better, you can go back through your colours and do that. I think that's pretty nice. Same again this side. There's not too much space that you can leave, but if you can, then do that, because it just gives you that extra shiny look. If you don't want it to be so stark, the white strip down the middle, you can do a very light haze of your pencil over that white strip, but no pressure on it at all, because we really just want to have that hazy look. So I think I'm going to do his jacket green. I'm looking at my Nutcracker and he's got a green jacket, so I think that's what we'll do. I don't want to do too much red on him, because obviously we've got this huge red thing in the middle, so we'll see. Do I do this? I think I'm going to do these round tops green as well, and we'll maybe have black or gold on this bit. So a few of you were writing back about what superpower you'd like to have, and there's some really good suggestions actually. Let me try and think of one. So someone said they would like to speak every single language, you know, right back to ancient languages, and just be able to fluently speak in any language. That was a really good one. I would love to be able to speak any other language actually. So yeah, that was a great one. Trying to think what other people said. Might have to get my comments up. Just going back some of my colours, just deepening them up, making them nice and crisp. Let's go back through my comments and have a look. Yes, quiet. I hate hearing myself talk. Right, back through the comments. Yeah, so someone said speed colouring and listing pencils are not colour alongs. I understand that, because I suppose a colour along is when you are colouring along with someone and you're talking and whatever. Like I said in the last video, I just find them easier to do for me because I can have something on in the background and I can lose myself in the colouring. So doing it like this, real time and speaking and thinking of things to say is a little bit more difficult for me. But what else have you got? Everyone's been so kind, saying that I'm doing really well and you're really loving the chatty colour alongs again. The purple face, come on, darling. It was horrific. It really was. I had so many layers of pencil and blending solution and more pencil, and then it was all burnished and then more pencil on top. It was horrendous. Yeah, so here it is. Colourful Colourist. She said that she's thought a lot about her superpower. She would love to be able to read, write, speak and completely understand every language ever spoken or written. So yeah, that is an amazing one, actually. I would love to be able to do that. I love you on your videos. I feel like we could be good friends, not in a weird way. I feel like I've got so many friends on here. Like, I've never even spoken to you in person, but I just feel like you're so supportive of me. You do feel like real friends. This one was a nice one from Snookat. It said that your son is 36 and when he moved to South America and her parents moved to Florida, Christmas has stopped being real Christmas. Understand how you feel. Yeah, honestly, it's not fair to my husband who loves Christmas. Now, this is the opposite for me. I have always loved Christmas and my husband isn't interested. He's not like he's a complete Scrooge. He just thinks that Christmas should be Christmas, as in the week leading up to or the couple of days leading up to. And I guess that's how it was in his kind of era. But yeah, I do find that a bit annoying sometimes because I'm just like, please just be happy and get into the festive spirit, you know. But I get it, and I think that's made me a bit more cynical about the whole thing as well. Lots of health problems. Oh dear. Please stop worrying about what others think. Yeah. I know. It's really hard though. It's really hard to, that's my brother. We've all got weird names on the group chat. Yeah. It's difficult. Like, I want to be able to do so many things, but my health just stops me. Must have been spooky colour in your own video. I did not listen to myself on the video though. I muted it when I was watching the tutorial back. I just looked for what colour it was and where I was putting it. Fibromyalgia, often lose my words. I wonder if I've got something like that, you know. Obviously, Buddy needs to be included. I totally forgot to talk about Buddy last time, which is so weird because he literally is the only thing I ever think and talk about. Oh God, he's amazing. And that was just some recommendations for the scary stories that I listened to. So there we go. Some lovely comments there. Thank you so much. Just where did I get to on here? Make sure these are nice and blended. I'm not being too precious about it because it's a small area. It's the page as a whole. You won't focus on these little areas. You'll just see the end result and you'll see the effectiveness of all the white bits that we've left and stuff like that. You won't really scrutinize it, hopefully. So I'm going back in with my dark green, the luminance one. Let's see. Let's start from the inside of his jacket. I haven't zoomed you in, have I? Sorry. There we go. Try not to put my hand over the camera as well. I might just colour that whole triangle in with the dark green because it is being overlapped by this sash buckle thing. And then we can go underneath. So I think I filmed my last part on Thursday, didn't I? I think I put it live on Thursday night. And it's now Saturday, so I'm doing really well to say that I'm keeping up with it and not taking 6 years. Like I said, it's just finding the time really when nobody's around and there's no noise and I can actually talk. And I can't talk when like anyone's listening to me, my husband or my kids. I can't I can't do these videos. It's so weird. I just get embarrassed. But yeah. So I've just done a little bit of a dark area there, and then we're just going to cycle back through the same colours again and again. Just keep giving it that half twist, trying to keep it a little bit sharp, but it doesn't matter. It's not like the tree branches. You know what? I'm really gutted that I didn't actually look up how to do tree branches for that tree, because I'm sure I could have made it look a lot better than that if I'd have practiced first. But hey ho, I tend to just do things off the cuff. Hoping you can see this and I'm not completely covering it. Just got to be mindful not to do that. But yeah, Buddy's great. He's absolutely wonderful. He's the light of my life. I look forward to seeing him every morning, and he's always so happy to see me as well. It's really nice. Just like having a baby, really. Harder, I think, in some ways to bring up a puppy, especially in those first few weeks. But I'm just so glad that he's house trained now, because obviously I've said before, we had the whole problem with Rosie. We could never get her house trained for some reason. She was just so stubborn and it just wouldn't work. And I suppose I probably could have put a bit more effort and time into it, but my kids were little. I had like a toddler and a, like a 6-year-old or something. So I probably didn't have enough time or effort put in, really. But she was quite stubborn anyway. Like, she was a Yorkshire Terrier, so terriers are typically quite stubborn. So yeah, it's really nice. He does have a dog flap, which I trained him to go in and out of, and he does use that. I don't know how he'd be if he didn't have the dog flap. Would he? I think he would probably bark to go out, because he's so used to that's where he goes now to do his business, to go outside. So if he couldn't access the outside, I think he would tell us. But he really didn't like the dog flap at the start, though. I really had to train him over. Well, I mean, it wasn't even that long. It was probably like 3 days in total that it took him to go through it. With constant training and constant encouragement and stuff. So that's not even really that long, is it? Because he's so intelligent. Like, poodles are the second most intelligent dog breed, apparently, and you really can tell, like, he's so switched on with things. But yeah, he did so well. I actually cried when he went through the flap for the first time, because he was so scared of it. And I took the magnet off the bottom, because I think he was scared that it was going to close on him as he was going through, and it was quite noisy when it flapped back down because of the magnet catching. So I did that for a while at first until he got used to it. And yeah, he's just doing so well. I'm still struggling to know what to feed him, to be honest. We've gone through lots of different options. If we ever have like a roast dinner, so like chicken, mashed vegetables, he will have a plate of that. I'm not one of these people who never give them human food. If it's meat and veg, I'm giving him a plate of it, and he absolutely loves it. But obviously I don't do that every day. And I've tried so many different dog foods. I've tried quite a few different fresh, like wet, fresh food. They're so expensive though, absolutely ridiculous. And then obviously I've tried to find the best kibble that I possibly can, but I know that kibble is not, ideal really at all. Even if you find the best kibble, it's not great. So I've mainly been just chopping up meat and things for him, which he absolutely loves. It's just knowing he's quite fussy. Poodles are generally quite fussy as well. And I think if you give them too much different choice, they will starve themselves and wait it out and see if they get anything better. So probably made a rod for my own back there, but so I've just done the middle bit. So we've got a nice green jacket. We just need to do the bit below the belt now. So let's think, how am I going to do this? Do I want to have the darker colour here and then gradiate to the white, or do I want dark both sides like the arms? I might gradiate it inwards actually. I don't even know if gradiate is a word, but I might do that. So we'll start dark on the outside. Can't remember if I told you on the other part the other day, but me and my brother went to see The Shining in cinema last night. It's really good. Shining, it's one of my favourite films. It's a classic. You know, obviously it's a horror, so I love it. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed seeing it on the big screen. Try and put yourself in the position of when that first came out and pretend that you're in the cinema in the I think it was 1980 it came out, and you sort of try and pretend that you're there at the original release. Yeah, it was really, really good. We do go and see horror films sometimes that come out as a special, like a one night special. So me and my brother, we've been to see The Exorcist and Silence of the Lambs in cinema. So anytime there's something like that, I do like to go with him because he loves horror films. My sister, she don't mind them, but she's not like a fan. But me and my brother are quite into our horrors. So it's nice that we've got that point of connection, you know. And my brother is autistic, and I've always thought that I'm on the spectrum, always. So I think we're able to really talk things out, really like, you know, if we want to really talk about a film and the cinematography of it and like the trivia behind it and like the way it was made and stuff, we can talk till the cows come home about it. Whereas I think my sister would probably find that really boring. Yeah, so it's really nice. We like the same kind of music as well for the most part. And I love my brother. He's amazing. Oh, I think that was the top of a cross there. I've just gone over it, but oh well. I think I went a little bit too far with the dark green there. And then we'll do the same on the inside of the jacket. So we'll go dark to light both sides. Keep remembering not to cover what I'm doing. And then we want the dark green. I am trying to keep the shape. So we've got a curve here on the bottom bit of this jacket. And I'm trying to keep that curved shape. It's a very fine curve. It's not a big curve. But that just helps it to look rounded as well. You can just try and keep the curve of the line when you're blending. Oh, I've forgotten that top bit. See, I've gone out of the lines in quite a few areas, but it doesn't bother me. Because like the end result, it's like I said earlier, your eyes will not go to things that are wrong. It will just take in the whole image, and you know, it won't focus on those things. So that's the jacket. I'm going to do the legs in red. So I'm just going to try and remember what I used. So I know I used black, and the only black pencil I've got at the moment in my sets is this Derwent Drawing black. And I've had this set for a couple of months, I think, and it's already at this stage because I use black quite a lot in my work. So yeah, I've got, there's the black. Obviously you'll have a Prismacolor black, so that's fine. Then I've got the Crimson Lake Prisma and the Scarlet Lake, and I believe it was the Carmine Red. I think that was the red blend that I used for the post box, so we will stick with that. Definitely need to top up some of my pencils now, especially black. Has anyone got about 30 black pencils they can send my way? Because I've run out of them so quick. Same with the white as well. So we're going to start, we're not going to start with the black. I know it's the darkest, but I'll use that afterwards. So we're going to start with the darkest of the reds, which is the Crimson Lake. I'm just looking at these stripes either side and wondering whether to do those in gold. I don't know. I think I'm just going to start at the middle. Can you see this? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. There we go. Sorry. I remembered just in time. So I've just gone really dark, heavy pressure down the middle. And then I'm just going to figure out, do I want to... I might just make these normal legs and not have anything in this stripe. So in that case, I'm going to do some dark. Exactly like we did on the arms, just working dark to light. We've got our Scarlet Lake. Again, this is just a transition colour, so you don't need much of it. There just has to be some there so that the next colour doesn't look so stark against the darkest one. And then the Carmine Red. And again, we will leave a little bit of white in the centre. Try to make sure that the strips of white that you leave are sort of identical on both sides, because that will look a bit weird if one band is wider than another. You don't have to be too on the ball with it, but just try and keep them fairly similar. So what I did with the post box was use my white pencil to make the highlight. Just wondering if I should do that again here, or should I just go over it a little bit with the Carmine? Let's get the white out and see what happens. You can see, tiny again, you can see it's still got red on it from last time, but I'm just going to clean that off, just in case there's any bits of black on there or anything. And then just do a white stripe, hard pressure, all the way up. Now, because this is obviously white layered on top of some Crimson Lake, a very light layer, you will see that the white that we left on the green is a lot shinier, brighter, more contrasted than the white that we have here. So if you want to, at this stage, you can come in with a white gel pen and sort of down the center of that white blend, do a little thin line, and that just brings the brightness back. And then of course we're going to go in with the black just to deepen up. Now we don't need a lot of this black because obviously black is a really heavy colour, so we need to be using really light pressure just over the edges of where our darkest red is. So nothing serious, just very light pressure. And that will again make the white highlight in the centre really pop. I've said it before, I'll say it again, my biggest colouring trick is to make your dark colours as dark as they can be and your light colours as light as they can be. So the closer you can get to black and white for your shadows and highlights, the more pop you will have. So when you've done a very light layer of the black, you will definitely then want to come back in with your darkest red, Crimson Lake, and go over that. Now the Prismacolor pencils are fabulous for this technique because they just melt into each other. They are literally like butter or wax crayon. They will just melt into each other. And that will really blur out the edges of the black and help it look like it is blended rather than an addition that you've put on top. Just missing a little bit of red there. Carmine red. Like I say, you can go over your colours as many times as you want. If you don't colour as heavy pressure as I do, you can go in there and layer up until you get this burnished finish. Let's just take, let me see, no, I don't need that yet. Right, focus. I've forgotten this bit of the jacket as well. I bet you're all screaming at me that I've forgotten all these pieces. I will find them in the end. Oh, it's the darkest bit, isn't it? We've also got the top of the jacket as well. So I think I'm going to have to do that, but we're going to start from the dark green there because we don't need to go for the really dark solid black green. Dark solid black green, what a silly sentence. Grass green, spring green. Okay, there he is. He's not looking too bad so far. Now then, boots. Boots have got to be black, haven't they? My Mr. Nutcracker's boots are black. And I like the gold inclusion, so I might pinch that idea as well. So let's do black boots. Now for that we will obviously need black. And we'll need some greys as well, but we'll come to that. So let me move you up before I forget. There we go. And then, oh, look at that phase. Did you see that phase? So for the black, we'll do the same as we did for the calf bit of the boot. So we want black down the centre. I have gone on to the gold bit, but that was by accident. I'm not too bothered about colouring around these little things. If I can, I will, but you know, if you get something that has a lot of little details on them and you're trying to like colour around them and it's really annoying, just colour over top and get some acrylic marker, because that will literally go over anything. That's my tip for that anyway. and you can always draw those back in. So that's that side. And then I'm sorry if I'm having to like hudge right up to the pencil because it's so short. Right, and then for the whatever bit of the boot that is, the toe bit, let me think what I want to do with that. I think they're going to have the most shine kind of at the top, so I'm going to just curve it around like that. And we're going to follow that curve with our greys all the way to the top, to the shine. And then that should hopefully make it nice and shiny. Curve it around. Might need to just put a bit of black over top. Again, I'm not being, you know, really precise. Curve it around. You should end up with a little oval shape. Make sure it's got that little haze of colour so that we can blend it nicely. Now, because they are black shoes, I'm going to go for a cool grey scheme. So I think let's go for these 70% and 30% cool grey. Again, we start with our darkest and we mush it into the black, both sides. I know that we're not using a Prisma black, but the Prisma and the Derwent drawing do work quite well together. So they can blend nicely. Same with the luminance. Prisma and luminance do work quite well. But no pencil's really going to work as well with a different set than it does with its own. So I'm just using what I've got. I could really do with buying a whole new box of 150 Prismas because I'm running out of even my spares now. Because I use them so much, but they're so expensive, it's ridiculous. So I'm just going to follow that curve up. Obviously not all the way. You should have something that looks a bit like that. Then we've got the 30% cool grey. And again, we can leave a bit of white space in the centre. Follow that curve up again and just get lighter and lighter with your pressure as you reach the top, and you'll get a little bit of a highlight on there. You can always bring your white back in, wherever it is. Here we go. Bring your white back in. And do exactly what we did on the legs. So you can buff that white out a bit more, especially if they are kind of leather boots. That gives it a nice matte shine rather than a glossy shine. Depends what you want, really. Doesn't really matter. Just making sure that one. Right, so get your greys again. If you're not happy with the blend, you can grab your grey again and just go back in. You might even want to bring your black back just to crispen up the lines. And then that darker grey. I say Prismas are really quite forgiving, thankfully. So you end up with something that looks a bit like that. Now, same again on the leg part of the boot. If you just want to come in, deepen up your black. I think I've made those a little bit thicker than they were originally, but again, no one's gonna know. Dark grey, where are you? There. And you can just redo your blends until you're happy. I'm going in with lots of touch-ups because I get kind of stuck on things sometimes and I don't want to move on until it looks right to me. I think that'll do. See, I'm starting to burnish, so I'm not going to be able to do much more on these boots, but that's fine. I'm going to leave them as they are. Okay, right, what's next? I've just noticed that he's holding his arm out, and I believe that that would be a green sleeve. Green sleeves. So I'm going to come back in with my dark green from the Luminance. Do a little curve over there. Dark green Prisma. Grass green. And spring green. That'll do. Right. He's got a crown. Has mine got a crown? Oh, he's got a hat. I guess this could be a hat as well. This one's crown is black. I think I might agree with that actually, because we've got black on the boots, black on the hat. So we're going to have that symmetry there as well. It's all going to tie in together. So let's grab our black again. Might do this slightly differently. So we'll follow the curve of these sections. And then we'll take the curve from the opposite direction when we've reached the middle of the hat. We just put a black line down the middle, but we're taking the curve on the left-hand side now. Yep, that's good. And then we'll go to the 70% cool grey. Again, just using the same colours, following the same curve. And then the 30% cool grey. Leave a little bit of white, not too much, just a little bit of at the edge of the blend there. think these Prismas are working better on this Japanese copy as well. This is an original Japanese romantic country. The other two romantic country books I got are, I believe, the American published ones. And I remember when I had the books originally, my Prismas, I couldn't get them to colour without it looking really quite splotchy. You wouldn't know unless you looked up close, but I could feel it as I was colouring that it just didn't seem to go down as nicely, and it felt quite sticky on that paper. But this is quite nice. I would have got the other two in the original Japanese, but again, it's just the expense. Yeah, that'll do. Then we'll get the black back for the top. Just outline that. 70% cool grey down here at the bottom. And the 30% cool grey just at the top. So we've got a nice little highlight on the top as well. And I'm going to come back in with the black just to redefine that base, because it's such a small area. When you go in with your lighter greys, you are dulling down the black. You've not got enough room. I think that'll do. Bit of white pencil. Again, just to blur these out a little bit. And we've got like the headband as well of the hat. So I'm just thinking what to do with that. I don't know whether to bring red into the headband or green, or even both. Should we do both? So get your lightest red, that's the carmine. And we'll colour in these central triangles, or diamonds rather. And then with our lightest green, we'll colour in the rest of the diamonds. Such small gaps. And then with our darkest red, which is the Crimson Lake, we can try and just add a little bit of dark depth into the right hand corners of each diamond. I am going over the lines, I'm not being not being careful enough. Then we want our grass green. We do exactly the same with the green diamonds. So just the corners on the right hand side of the diamond. This is just so we're not leaving them block coloured, because that would look quite odd next to all of the shine and depth and dimension we've got going on in the jacket. Just going to get my spring green again just to blur that out a little bit more. Then let's get a little bit of black. Oh, it's broken off. Please don't give up on me, black. It's not wanting to sharpen. See, this is what happens with my tea girl sometimes. Let me empty it. I've got a little pot full of shavings next to me. I can quickly empty it. Yes. So a little bit of black just to touch the edges of those red diamonds. And we'll use that really dark luminance green to do the edges of the green diamonds, so that we can start there and then just do little tiny inclusions. So we've got some depth going on. Just want to get a little bit more grass green in because I feel like there's a bit too much between the spring green and the grass green, a bit too much space. I think that should do. I could even just get my jelly roll and put some little tiny white highlights at the top of the red diamonds. Don't know if it made much of a difference on the green because the spring green is really quite light. But it's something, you know, like I said, it's such a small area of the page. We're not going to be hopefully drawn to it. Right, so I want to continue with a bit more red on this jacket, and we'll get some gold in there as well. I do want to add some black too. So let me just think where I want things. So this is going to be gold, this horn. So I think we can stick with black and red on the jacket. So what I might do is do these little things black. And I'm just going to literally block colour those. The little laces. I think maybe just pull some black down at the top and the bottom of these lines as well. And then we can have some red buttons. Now, because I've sort of left that gap, I don't really want to come in with greys. There's not enough room. So I'm going to skip straight to white and just blur those together. So you've created a grey gradient without even needing the interim greys. Such a small area, we don't need to worry. Just got to replace that bit of dark green that I went over then. So that's good. We should also do these ones as well. So again, just put a little bit of black at the beginning and the end of the section. A little bit more. And then we can use our white to drag that across. And we'll have a grey bit. Missed a little bit of green there as well. Oh. Oh yeah, that's the other side of the thing that's holding the horn. So have I got that? Yeah, I think. So we want red buttons. So again, I'm just going to go straight in with the carmine, block colour those. They're just that tiny. I'm not going to mess about with gradients. I can always add darker bits like I did on the hat. That hat's bothering me a little bit. Can I grab the black again? I feel like it looks too like it's floating. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of black shading in either side. Again, just keep it nice and light. I may even just go over this band, define it a bit more. I'm happier with that. Okay. So red buttons, that's what we're doing at the minute. Do these crosses red as well. Red. Should they be gold down the middle just to keep their theme? Probably. Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself what to do. I think these bits should be red because that needs to be tied in. So we'll get our Crimson Lake and we'll do exactly what we did on the arms with the green. So we'll start dark at the edges, Scarlet Lake, Carmine Red. Yeah, a little bit of black on those edges of red as well. Again, just really ramping up the contrast all the time. And I think I also want to do definition of these parts because again, they look a little bit floaty. That's better. Right, now we are looking at gold, aren't we? So I am just going to do a little bit of an erase on here to get the bits because I don't want green and black to be meddling with the gold. This is just obviously a battery eraser. It's a lot more precise. Prismas aren't very good at erasing anyway. That does a decent job. It's still got bits of it there. I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay. So gold, do we go gold paint? I can very easily do a gold texture with a pencil. Very easily. I've done it on lots of videos. But because it is Christmas and everything is supposed to be shiny, sparkly, glittery magic, shall I paint this horn with gold? That's where I'm at the minute. I feel like I want to add some sparkle and shine, and I'm probably going to do some over on the Christmas tree on those things, baubles. So I might as well do some on this side as well, again with the symmetry. So I've got KJ Design by Karen's Golden. It's the only one I ever use. It's absolutely brilliant. I've got a water brush, which I think has a little bit of water left in it, so we should be okay. Absolutely love this paint. If you have not got any of KJ's paints and you want to just get a couple or even one, get yourself the golden. Oh my goodness. And if you're going for a silver, you want the chrome. I think she call it the super chrome now. It's like so chrome and shiny. She did do a very glittery silver that was incredibly sparkly called Bedazzle. But I'm not sure if she does that one anymore. It contained some really high quality, expensive mica pigments. So I don't know if she still does it. So I didn't really need to erase those bits now that I've gone over them with paint, but hey ho. This ring seems like it would be gold as well, doesn't it? Yeah, because it's like the handle of the horn. Just figured out what it is. Don't mind me. Then we'll have a bit of gold on the buckle. There's another buckle down here. And we want gold buttons. That's all right. I think that's all the gold we need. Hang on, let's put some on these shoes while we're here. Do I want any more gold anywhere else just before I put it away? I think I'm going to do the tops and the bottoms of his boots green, by the way. Don't think I need to do any more gold. Maybe on his little staff, whatever it is that he's carrying, his little guard spike thing. Let's do these gold. Not sure what I want to do about the triangle bit yet. Might do those. Might even do those in a different sparkly paint, because why not? Right, so that is little bits of gold done. So I've just got to try and be careful. That should be the last thing I did, really. But you've got to try and be careful not to smudge it now. It shouldn't take too long to dry. So for the strap, there goes the washing machine. For the strap, I think we're going to go brown. Just a really inoffensive brown that doesn't stick out. This is dark brown. Because I don't want it to be black, because you'll lose it. But I don't want it to be anything that stands out or takes away from the rest of him either. Maybe that would be brown, actually, that little bit. And then let's go light umber. See, this is the last of my spares for this colour, so that's why it's brand new. So yeah, bit of dark brown, bit of light umber, and it's not taking anything away from the rest of him. It's just fading in. So I said I wanted to do the boots, the cuffs and everything, but green, didn't I? So let's get on with that. Let's grab our luminance green. And guess what? We're going to do the same thing again. Dark to light blending. People keep saying I ought to do a book, you know, colouring techniques book. I'd love to, but I'm really concerned that it will just be the same thing sort of repeated over and over again. I suppose I could do different tutorials for things. So, you know, whatever, fur, water, sky, whatever. But the blending will always be the same, the way that I work with the blending. I've never had enough confidence anyway to think that I could do a book. It would be really cool to have my name on a book and have produced something, especially if it was, you know, had a publisher attached and it was all legit and really well made, good quality, whatever. But I feel like it might overwhelm me, and I feel like I'll just be imposter syndrome all the time. This is no good. You know, this is too easy, this is too basic. Maybe I'll make a book, and even if it's rubbish, will you buy a copy? Not so that I make money, just so that I've got the gratification that someone's actually buying it. Because that would be so funny if it ended up in the bargain bin. It wouldn't be funny, it'd break me, but you know. Right, so a little bit of white gel pen down the centre there. And again, I do just want to go over these lines and make them look really crisp and sharp. Could do this Could do this with a fine liner, actually, because then things like that wouldn't happen. I'll just fill that back in a minute. I'll do the rest with a fine liner so I don't mess up like that again. That'll do. Right, skin. No, I haven't done the bit of the horn yet. I think that should be black as well. Probably. we'll do that shiny black with, we just blend it out with white again. I'll just do a bit of black on the edges. Get my white pencil, which has disappeared. Actually, where is it? How can things just go missing when they're right in front of you? No, Buddy's not got it. Had to have a check because he's usually got everything that you're missing. Let's get another white. I've got a tiny other white as well. And we'll do, like I said before, just make a really quick shiny black. Then we've got these little tiny weeny bits between the buckle that I'm just going to put the dark brown in. Okay, now let's do skin. So my little man has got his kind of normal kind of tanned wood lacquer skin and a little bit of blush. So why don't we do that as well? So I'm looking for a tandy kind of skin colour. Let's go for, grab my chart. Zoom you out again. Oh, this is Artex. I was thinking, where's antique brass in Prismacolor? Right, I need to redo this. It looks terrible. So, bronze or light umber? Let's go light umber and beige sienna with a little bit of blush, I think. So light umber, beige sienna. Yeah, it's got bits of green and stuff on him, but hopefully that will be covered up. So I've got light umber, following the curve, trying to miss out the tash and the eyebrow. Try not to drag any colour down from the green and red bit of the hat. I've got to zoom you in. There we go. To get under his tash as well. Then we've got our beige sienna. Need another lighter colour as well. Beige sienna. Let's go eggshell. I think we've got eggshell in this blend at the back as well. The thingy, whatever it is, notice board. Don't worry about covering up the eyes and stuff. We can always, like I said, get a fine liner, put those details back in after. I'm going to do the same here on his hand. Circle of light umber. See, I've done the gold look. I knew it would happen. And then eggshell. Always come back in and touch that bit of gold up. And some of this light umber back in. I think that's all of his skin. So I've missed a bit, haven't I, back here? I can use this little bit of eggshell. Do. So you would be able to see his skin through his little glasses, wouldn't you? So I might as well cover those. So wooden nutcracker, should we do a little bit of a wood grain over him, or will that, I struggle with that with this because it is such a small area. Wood grain may end up overpowering and just looking weird, so I might leave it as it is. So as for the hair, my nutcracker's got white grey hair, so maybe we'll stick with that. I'll get a warm grey for that though this time. Anything that's sort of human or whatever, I always use a warm grey. Anything that's metal, cold, an object, I will use the cool greys. So I've got 70% French grey, and I also need, no, not French grey. Why have I got French grey? Where's my warm greys? Here they are. Right, let's start again. So I've got a 50% warm grey, and I've got a 20% warm grey. I'm also going to get the 10% because I want to go over his hair first with the 10. So we will block colour with the 10% warm grey all of his facial hair and head hair. His nose, I might do that in the light umber. Got his eyebrows, and then this side of his hair. And then with the dark one, so this is the 50% warm grey, it's nice and sharp already. So I'm just going to try and do some little definition bits. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this because my hand is going to be straight over it. But I'm just doing some very light-handed little curly whirls. Same again in his beard. Really light-handed. And his tash, we'll just do some little stripes. Like I said, just really light-handed, so we're just seeing the impression of some curly hair there. And if you want, you can come in with that 20% warm grey, blur any of them out, just give a little bit more variation. Let's see if I bring the white gel pen in and do a few little curls. Don't know if that'll make any difference really, because it's already quite light as it is. If you feel that you've gone too dark anyway, you can bring your white gel pen in and just do some little curly whirlies. A little bit darker. If you feel like it's not enough definition, go in with an even further dark grey, but just be really careful with it. So this is the 90% warm grey, and I'm just being really, really careful. That's not a warm grey. I keep picking the wrong greys. We've got a 70% warm grey, that's better. So again, just nice and sharp, but really light pressure, constantly moving and doing little curly whirlies. You do that with a few different shades of grey, you'll get that little bit of texture and variation that you need to make it look a bit more realistic. So sharpen up some of these lines in his tash. And I'm going to leave that as it is before I go too far. Why is your pencil still on the page then, Claire, you're asking? Because I can't take my own advice. Right, leave that, otherwise it's going to get really bad. So, teeth are fine. I want to go in with a fine liner and just redo his eyes. Just be mindful when you put fine liner on top of pencil though. It takes forever to dry. I don't even do a proper circle when it's drawn for me. Might just, as a little teeny touch, get hold of a light blue. Find one. That might do. Acrylic marker. Just weeny little lines on his glasses. That wasn't very light for a blue, but hey ho. So then we have got his little staff thing. What do I do with that? It's got to be black, hasn't it? I feel like it will be black. I'm just going to get the black and do the same thing as we did with the white. Bottom, you see? No, Claire, they can't see. Top and bottom. Grab the white. And over your black and drag it into the middle. A quick way of doing something black and shiny. Just add a little bit more definition into the black where the white has stripped it away. It's not quite as long as I want it to be. Feel like that's disappearing in the middle there. So just try and outline it. That'll do. Now for the gemstones or whatever that's in the thing, let's get some more KJ paints out, see what we've got here. I want any of these. What colour should his gemstone be? Do you think it should be red? I know she's got some gorgeous reds. Let's have a look. Unzoom me for a minute. Right. What about this tulip? This is called tulip. This little red, the second one in. Oh, actually, Chinese red. Because look, it's got that bit of metallic in it as well. Chinese red. We're sticking with the red, but we're giving it a bit more of a metallic-y feel. Same as the gold, rather than just a flat red. The other reds are metallic, they're just not as shiny looking. See how quick that was. It's longer to get the actual paints out of the drawer. And I need to come back in with the gold, don't I, because I messed up. Touch up. Final thing we've got to do today on the Nutcracker is his base, his stand. So I'm coming back in with the black. I know it seems like an awful lot of black to use on a Christmas page, but it will hopefully look better and look good and work. So let's see. Let's do this. sharpen, but I'm so frightened of breaking it at this point. My white. And then for the actual stand, see, I've got green on the bottom of his feet, so I'm thinking of doing red. Just get my reds. Oh, everything's falling down. Let's get the red. Maybe I could put some gold dots on there, actually. Yeah, so let's do a normal red blend. So we've got our Crimson Lake, Scarlet Lake, and the Carmine Pink. Let's get the red. Make that a little bit matte. And back again with the gold. Do some nice shiny bits. There we go. I think that's it. I think that's a nutcracker done. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. What do you think? How is it turning out so far? Let's zoom out. This is the whole thing. What do you reckon? So obviously we've got some glass to do on the windows there. Got a little tiny chickie I've only just noticed, the little mailman chick. We've got obviously the people to do and the bits and bobs that's on the post box, and then we've got the ground and the bits that's on the tree. So we've still got quite a lot to do, and I've just realised that I've missed something else out, which is the top of his hat. It's got a little pom-pom on it. So I will do what we've been doing and just get the white. There we go. How's that? Done. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next part, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.